And a good morning to you. Welcome. It's Martin Jeff and the Farmchick coming to you high atop the Eagle Building in beautiful downtown Goodland. Here on Eagle Cable Channel 10, KLOE AM Radio, and streaming from the web on our Facebook page, Martin Jeff and the Farmchick. Our show is being brought to you by Eckland Insurance, LLC, Northwest Tech, Elliott's Home Furnishings, The Insurance Agency, and Goodland Sonic Drive-In. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our semi-annual basketball March Madness show with Mr. Jayhawk. Jeff Mason joining us today. It's been a couple of years since we.
It has been. I don't know why, but it's been a couple of years. Absolutely.
We just had some technical changes, and I know I'm getting slower to get things organized than we should. But
yes, by the way, happy birthday this week.
Oh. Thank you very much. You had to bring that up. That's
you
why.
Betcha.
That's why I'm disorganized, because I'm getting older. I guess.
Yep, that's what happens. I'm just not quite as old as you are.
You're just right behind me.
Right behind you.
Right.
That's right.
And
that's right.
You better.
But I do have to wish you a happy birthday.
Well, I appreciate that. I guess. Thanks. It's been
better than not having a birthday.
Yes. I always say, for people that are older than me, I say I always hope I can be as old as you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Old is at least 20 years older than we are.
They don't necessarily appreciate that when you say that to them, but anyway. Well, I decided we had to. You point out several things every time I run into you. With the past couple of years, we haven't done a show. The fact that because we haven't done a show, the Jayhawks haven't advanced very far.
That's very true.
You think that's part of the reason for that?
You bet. And this year, all of the stars are aligning. Because the road to the Final Four goes through Omaha, and the Final Four is back in San Antonio.
Now, you use those facts. Is this based on past situations? Are you looking back at Danny and the Miracles, perhaps, or?
Well, in 2008, when we won the national championship last, the road to the Final Four went through Omaha to San Antonio. Now, we didn't start in Wichita.
Okay. We
started in Kansas City, I think, but
that's same difference.
Yeah, same. Almost. Yeah, it's still our own backyard, so it's lining up.
Now, did that team? How many losses did that 08 team have in regular season? Was it just 3?
They had only 3. Yes.
See, I'm thinking the was it 88? Am I thinking?
Danny and the Miracles. They had 11 losses going in.
See, I'm thinking this could be a magical year for the Jayhawks because that year they had so many losses and nobody expected them to do anything.
Right.
K-State was in the tournament. Of course, they played K-State.
Yep, up in Detroit.
I don't think that's a possibility this time unless they make it to the Final Four.
Correct. They'd have to play in the championship game.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
Yes,
Just love to see something like that so America would know.
Well, I have to play basketball. I do have a heart bracket always.
Oh, yeah.
I've got my real bracket, but I've got my heart bracket. And my heart bracket has in the Final Four, KU, K-State, Wichita State, and Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Now, why Gonzaga?
Well, because, frankly, I think the West bracket is the weakest bracket. Xavier's the number 1 seed in that bracket, but I think Gonzaga can beat Xavier, and quite frankly, I think Gonzaga can beat North Carolina.
Well, the purpose of our show each year is to not only review that. I've been so busy the last week, I haven't filled out a bracket yet. I've looked at it, and I know how I want to fill it out, and I've talked to many people who do the heart bracket.
Right.
Meaning, you support your Kansas team and your league, and so what I'm going to do on my true bracket, not my heart, I'm going to do one bracket.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave some people out eventually, but I really feel that.
K-State has the toughest first round game.
Yeah, and
so if they can survive that. Then they get University of Virginia. So,
I was talking to a broadcaster yesterday who believes that if K-State can get back past Creighton, they could probably beat Virginia. We don't. How does Virginia? How do we know that these number 1 seeds, how they stack up against our Big 12 teams?
That's true.
It's the Big 12.
That's right.
After all, right?
Well, of course, we tried that against the SEC back in January, and it didn't turn out quite so well.
That's right. Yeah. People kind of decided. Well, I've still heard it all through the regular season, and even into the Big 12 tournament. the commentators saying those words. This is the Big 12 after all. You know,
that's right.
And let's back up a little bit first and talk about how the bracket went. The big controversy, of course, is centered around the one I'm familiar with, a Big 12 teams, Oklahoma getting in,
and Oklahoma
State not getting it.
And I agree with them. I think Oklahoma State was playing much better than Oklahoma at the end, and they should have gotten in.
Everybody agrees with that. Even Dick Vitale agrees with that.
That's right. Yeah. And so the conspiracy theory is that how do you keep Trey Young, who sells tickets, out of the big dance? Well, I really do hope Oklahoma can beat Rhode Island. I hope all the Big 12 teams can win that first game.
I'm going to advance them just because they're Big 12 teams.
Yep. But
I think Oklahoma State would be the better team.
Yes.
In that, at least they're in that position.
Absolutely. Now, I really hope Oklahoma proves all the pundits wrong, including me. Because that would be wonderful if Oklahoma could advance a couple of games.
Backing up a little further, I don't know if it was the first. I think it was the first time KU played Oklahoma in regular season this year. The ESPN commentators, Fran Fraschilla, and I can't remember the other guy.
It was either Sciambi or Wishin, whatever his name is, Bob Wishin.
I can't. But anyway, my wife and I were watching the game, and we wish we had some kind of a device that would have counted the number of times the commentators said the words Trey Young.
Oh.
Welcome back. It's Trey Young in Kansas. Welcome back. Trey Young leads. They had no other team members, or did somebody finally say something to them? I know on game day when they were at Lawrence, somebody held up a sign that says ESPN told me to say Trey Young. Did you see that sign?
I didn't see that one.
I think that was in response to that game.
Oh, probably, because you're right. That's all
they
talked about. That's all they talked about. Yep. And unfortunately, the polka-doke worked, and so they lost. KU lost the game. Oklahoma won, but oh well,
Did you feel that Coach Self should have taken Azubuike out at that
after
point?
the second time? I think he should have taken him out.
Yeah,
and just said, "I'm sorry."
I mean, I guess that was good strategy on the part of
absolutely,
Coach
absolutely.
Kruger, but as it turns out, everything worked out okay.
That's
but
right.
That's right. I just how we are when we love our team, and the commentators. Are just ridiculous.
Well, and I think that has affected the way Oklahoma has played, and quite frankly, has made them a worse team than they would have been had everybody just shut up and not pumped up Trey Young so much. I mean.
You think that some of the team members, Oklahoma team members, are a little resentful over that?
I think so.
I would think so.
Kadeem Lattin's a great player, and I can't name the other guys, but they've got great players on that team, and it's unfortunate. Yeah. But I agree with the commentators based upon the performance at the end of the year.
Yeah,
you look at the total resume and look at all those numbers and stuff. Yes, Oklahoma should have been in. But I think you have to look at the teams that are playing well at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I agree. I wish no ill on our fellow Big 12 team, Oklahoma. I hope they win some games.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's get back to the bracket.
There are no Big 12 teams in the West.
Okay. The only division where there is no
Big 12 team
is where is Wichita? They're up.
Wichita's in the East with Villanova and Purdue and that crowd.
It's too bad Wichita couldn't have been in the West, so we'd have like somebody to cheer for down there.
Well, you got Gonzaga out west.
I used to be a fan of Gonzaga, but I've lost my. I don't know why. They're not as special anymore.
When my son was running cross country, we had the chance to go to Spokane, so I actually have a Gonzaga T-shirt.
Oh, all right.
So,
well, that'll do it. I feel that way about West Virginia. We went on a family vacation a few years ago. We drove past the West Virginia campus, so you feel some kind of connection there,
right?
And
I know someone that thinks Bob Huggins and Donald Trump would be good buddies. You want to get into
No,
politics?
I believe me, I would love to get into politics, but we do not have the time for that. Believe me, and I'm afraid that you and I would probably get in trouble if we
Probably. We'd probably say what we think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would. So, but the bracket though, what bracket do you think is the toughest bracket? I think the Midwest.
I think the Midwest is the toughest bracket, although the South is pretty tough as well. When you look at the 5 and 4, which are Kentucky and Arizona, up against Virginia, and then you've got Cincinnati with Tennessee and Miami. I mean, that's a pretty tough bracket. And actually, for KU, the tough part of the bracket is on the bottom side.
Yes, and let's just fast forward to the Elite Eight, and wouldn't it be a dream to have Duke and Kansas playing each other? That could be, the highlight of the whole tournament up to that point. I think
that's very true, and I have those two facing off. But Michigan State's a heck of a basketball team, and Tom Izzo always has his team playing well this time of year.
Yeah,
that Duke MSU game could be a real bloodbath. Those guys are good. That's going to be a dogfight. But I do think Duke gets there, and they end up playing KU to go to the Final Four.
So here's another talk about beginning to like us, a team. We've come to like Duke, believe it or not. There's something about my son Andrew met Grayson Allen here last year.
Cool.
Has a picture taken with him. Been to the court. So for some reason we have a connection there.
Well, I used to not like Duke very much.
Yeah.
But then I found out they were a Methodist school, so I have to like them a little.
Oh, okay. I thought they were a Catholic school.
No, they're a Methodist school.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's okay. I wasn't considering that aspect of it anyway.
Well, I've told you about the person that I know who picked their bracket based upon ST. They thought every ST meant saint. Yeah. So Kansas Saint and Michigan Saint, and she was a real strong religious person and picked all the saint schools.
That's the same person that's a cousin to the person who picked the brackets because of their what do you call them,
the mascots.
Mascots.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, speaking of that.
And we got to go there too.
Yep.
Don't hold on to that. Hold that thought.
Okay, I'll hold that thought.
That's one of the highlights of our show is we start talking about mascots and the meanings of names. Looking back, how do you think Texas Tech in reality is going to be? I mean, we're going to pick them because they're Big 12, but
right. I think Texas Tech will make it to the Elite Eight. They will beat Purdue in the Sweet 16 to make it to the Elite Eight. But then they run into Villanova, and Villanova's tough. I mean, I'm hoping. Well, I'm not a real Philly fan, so if Villanova gets knocked out by West Virginia or Virginia Tech, it won't hurt my feelings.
We talk about a Catholic school there, right? Villanova, aren't they Catholic?
I'm not sure if
I thought they were.
Could be.
Is Villanova better than Virginia, in your mind?
No. I don't think so.
Really?
I watched Virginia in the ACC tournament, and their offensive and defensive execution is amazing. It reminds me of Princeton, how effective they were in running their offense to get the shots that they wanted, and the screens that they run and the way they run the screens, and it's very, very tough to defend them on offense. You've got to have firepower on the other side, so a team who's shooting threes can beat them. But it's going to be. I mean, they've only lost 2 games, and one was to West Virginia.
Wow!
Early in the season, so that's they're going to be tough to beat.
Okay.
Virginia should be the favorite, and I actually have them winning the whole blasted thing, even though in my real bracket.
Well, that's kind of, we want to give advice here, too, because the radio stations are doing their March Madness bracket contest.
Sure, absolutely.
Maybe some fence setters out there. That, but you got to get them turned in, the brackets turned in. Okay, as a dyed-in-the-wool Kansas alum
Right.
that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find it interesting, surprising? Has Missouri been in the tournament recently?
No, they have not.
They haven't, have they?
They have not. Since they went to the SEC, they haven't been a very good team in
Yeah,
anything.
That's what I thought.
I'm just glad that we would have to meet them in the finals, in the championship game to play Missouri, and I think Florida State will get them right off the bat,
Yeah.
and they won't get past the first game.
I saw some commentator or writer commented that watch out for Missouri. They might be. I don't know what that's.
They've got their gun back, but to have your gun back 1 week before the tournament and have to adjust your entire offense based around a new person coming in, Bill Self right now would be in a position to run his normal 2 big man offense, but they haven't practiced it, and so he's not going to. He's going to stay with it, and I think Missouri's in the same situation to try to fit Porter in is going to be tough.
Mm-hmm. North Carolina, I thought Duke was going to handle them fairly easily. They didn't. They're a number 2 seed.
They are a number 2 seed, and I have them getting to the Elite Eight, but the way Gonzaga's been playing, I've got Gonzaga beating them in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four in my real bracket.
Okay. And let's see if there were some others. I want to bring up some of what I think are. For many years we did the show. We were afraid of any team with a B in it.
No kidding. Bucknell and Bradley and
Butler is over there on the other. Is in the East bracket, I guess.
Right. Yeah, we don't have any B's in our way to the Final Four.
Yeah. There's Bucknell actually. Isn't there Bucknell in the?
Oh yeah, they are.
There's a
yes, but I've got TCU taking them out. So.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need any B schools. The killer bees. Lord of mercy.
Any other surprises in your mind? South Dakota State.
I haven't watched them. I saw a piece of a game in their tournament. They're okay. I think they could beat Ohio State. I don't think they will. But I think they'll play them real closely. Mm-hmm. Another team that's been hot is Davidson, and another team that's been hot is Houston. Out of the AAC, the same league that Wichita State is in, and they have been playing very well. I don't think they can get past Michigan, but I do think they'll beat San Diego State.
Auburn could be in the way of Kansas at
Yes.
some point. They've been apparently fairly highly rated. They're number 4 seed.
They're a 4 seed and have been playing pretty well. Bruce Pearl has them playing well. In my real bracket, that's who I have us playing in the Sweet 16 is Auburn. I looking at the brackets this year, really the only surprise that I have in the Elite Eight is Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, I've got Texas Tech making it past Purdue. So I think Gonzaga and Texas Tech will be the non 1 through 4s that will be in the Elite Eight. But I have Gonzaga, KU, Villanova, and Virginia in the Final Four. I just think they're all playing very well, and they will be.
That would be just icing on the cake for me as a Kansas fan. From the very beginning, I really wasn't expecting a whole lot because
I expected
everything
to lose it to Oklahoma State at the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, and here they won both both titles outright,
Yep.
and I was hoping they could win that. That season schedule title because just to break the record.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Get that. But, they went further than I. So, you got to believe that maybe they could make it to the Final Four.
They could.
If they can just, they drive us nuts, all through the game. But,
they're heart attack kids. There's no doubt about that.
DeSouza, do you think he'll be back next year?
Yes. I do.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think he will be. I think we'll lose Devontae and Svi because they're seniors. The only other one I see two possible transfers, one being Legero Vic and one being Lightfoot.
Really?
Because there is Bill Self has recruited a couple of really good big men, and so Mitch could see the possibility that he won't get a whole lot of playing time unless he puts on some beef. I mean, the kid plays well; he just gets shoved around all the time.
Is Azubuike going to be back?
I think Azubuike will be back.
Wonderful. How about Newman was the star of the Big 12 tournament. Did he end up being the MVP?
Yes, he did.
I
did.
never heard for Fisher.
You know, there's a chance he could test the waters and see what might happen, but right now he's not on anybody's radar for lottery pick or first round. So, I think he'll be back.
That could be a better team. Next year it may be a
And
they're
you know what has happened with the KU team this year is they finally got their chemistry, and they're playing well together, and that needs to happen next year when they're going to have a bunch of stars. And if they don't get their chemistry together, then we'll be like Kentucky was several years ago and not even make the tournament.
Yeah. Real quick before we got to get to the mascots, we're running out of time. Do we credit Bill Self with bringing his team together here in the end through the Big 12?
He's got to have some guru psychologist helping him out because I mean he pushes all the right buttons at all the right times. It's just amazing to me.
I'm glad to hear that. I like Bill Self. I hope he stays there for the rest of his career.
Well, I do too, and I don't know where else he would go.
Yeah, well,
I mean, when you got
Oklahoma State,
well,
he will pull a Huggy and move to Oklahoma State.
But I don't think he will. I think he's really happy playing at a high level, and recruiting to KU is a little easier than it is to Stillwater, and so I think he's going to stay. And you were talking about the streak, the 14 years of winning the league championship, and people say, well, John Wooden won it for the 13. Well, John Wooden did not win it 13 years.
Oh, that's right.
John Wooden won it 9 years, and then Bartow and Cunningham won the other 4. And so it's even more impressive to me to get 14 under the same coach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
John Wooden, of course, got 13 national championships, or 11 national championships. And 9 of them in a row. I mean, that's incredible. That'll never be broken.
That'll never probably never be broken.
Nope.
Okay, real quick, we've got just a few minutes left. Let's look at some of the mascots. Any of the teams that you can think of that weren't there last year for starters, and I can't remember who that would be. But
well, there are a couple of new ones. Lipscomb.
Lipscomb, yes, that's
a
good.
new one. Trying to see if I can find their mascot right quick. They're the Bisons.
The Bisons.
Yes.
And where do they come from? I don't even know what.
I forgot to look that up, Marty, where they came from. But
we'll look at that. Look up that later.
They're the Bison. And for those who pick based upon mascots, they are picking them to beat North Carolina because a Bison would trample a Tar Heel.
No doubt about that.
Oh, shoot. It's crazy. But anyway.
Any controversial mascots?
No.
I think
there are not any Indians or anything like that.
What is Buffalo?
Buffalo or the Bulls?
The Bulls. Right?
Yes, the Bulls.
Okay.
Yep. And Maryland, Baltimore County are the Retrievers.
Like in a dog?
Like a dog, yes.
Cool.
And so, I don't know whether the Cavaliers would beat the Retrievers in a mascot war, but that's just the way that is. You got Blue Jays. There are 5 Wildcats. You've got K-State, Kentucky, Davidson, Arizona, and Villanova are all Wildcats. And and the next highest is Tigers. There's 4 of them: Texas Southern, Missouri, Clemson, and Auburn.
Did you say is it Arizona?
Yes,
a Wildcat.
Arizona Wildcats.
So you got Arizona, Kentucky, and Kansas State all in the same
yes.
bracket there.
Yeah.
In a dream scenario, any one of them could play.
Well, Kentucky and Arizona, those two Wildcats, I think, will be playing
Yeah.
in the second round.
Yeah.
K-State would have to survive Virginia in order to play one of those for another Wildcat battle.
Wow.
But yeah, of course, you got the Jackrabbits. South Dakota State
Oh, okay.
are the Jackrabbits, so that's an unusual one. My eyes are not near as good as they used to be.
Yeah. Tell me about it. SF Austin.
Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen F. Austin.
Yes. Let's see. I forgot what they are. But they're out of Texas, and they're playing in Dallas. They're the Lumberjacks.
Huh.
So, yeah, we got Lumberjacks and Longhorns, Texas Longhorns. So we got a couple of cows with the Bulls and the Longhorns. Of course, everybody thinks TCU's Horned Frogs are weird. We don't because we're in the Big 12.
Right.
But everybody else thinks that's kind of strange.
Well, the Jayhawks could be. It could be a weird name.
If
too.
we hadn't been in the news forever, that's true.
I think America is jealous of KU's mascot because it's so unique.
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
such a recognizable. logo.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like Duke and North Carolina.
Well, anywhere you go in the world, if you've got a Jayhawk on, you'll find
Rock
another
Chalk.
Jayhawk.
Yeah. You're rock jock across the room.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You have the Hurricanes. Radford, who plays tonight against LIU Brooklyn, they are the Highlanders. So they must be Scottish.
And by tonight we mean last night because this is Wednesday morning.
Which LIU Brooklyn are the Blackbirds.
Really?
So you got the Blackbirds and the Highlanders. I assume the Highlanders will shoot down the Blackbirds, but you'll know by this time. But that's one of the. Of course, the Bonnies, St. Bonaventure, are the Bonnies. Whatever the heck a Bonnie.
What is a Bonnie?
That's kind of like a Sooner.
Yeah.
What the hell's a Sooner?
What's a Sooner? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't even. I'm not sure what a
Sooner
Tar
rather
Heel
than later.
is.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
exactly. And who is it that has an elephant for a mascot, even though they're not the elephants? I can't remember, but one of them has an elephant. I saw Alabama. Alabama has an elephant.
Alabama.
Yeah, for the Crimson Tide, they've got this elephant. That's their mascot. Oh. It's kind of like Stanford and their tree.
Yes. At least at Stanford could have a tree.
Well, yeah, they're tree huggers.
But how do you walk around as a wave on the Gulf Coast or whatever the Crimson Tide stands for?
Exactly.
Well, Mr. Jayhawk, we are out of time.
Wow, it goes so fast.
It does. It's amazing. We may, depending on how the season goes, we may have you come back to analyze how things are going.
Final Four,
especially if we get to the Final Four.
Yes,
any one of our teams.
Absolutely, I'd love to talk about any of the Big 12 teams.
I'd love to see. I've said K-State. I don't know why they haven't been ranked all year. I thought they should have been ranked.
I would agree with that.
Many other of the Big 12 teams that have been ranked.
Yes, they've had a better record than a couple that have been ranked.
Absolutely.
So I agree. I agree, and they will have Wade and Brown back.
That was my next question. The people are asking if Wade
and Brown are both supposed to be back for the game on Friday, and they should be at full strength.
All right, well, get your brackets in to the Rockingham March Madness contest. You're listening to the radio for more details on that. Mr. Jayhawk, thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
Been great. It's been a couple of years since we've...
My favorite time of year.
Yeah, it is. It makes it's kind of a dull time of the year. You're in between winter and summer. I can't plant my onions yet, so...
Potatoes go in, this weekend?
No. Do not.
St. Patty's Day?
No, never. St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, maybe. The climate's maybe. Don't get me started on that. You can plant them if you want, but I'm not. Anyway, thanks to Mr. Jayhawk, Jeff Mason with us for our March Madness bracket discussion again on Martin, Jeff, and the Farmchick here on Eagle Cable Channel 10, KLOE AM Radio, and streaming from the web on our Facebook page. Like us at Martin, Jeff, and the Farmchick. Our show's brought to you by Goodland Sonic Drive-In, The Insurance Agency, Northwest Tech, Elliott's Home Furnishings, and Eckland Insurance, LLC. Thanks for tuning in, and watch the games, everybody. Go Wildcats, go Jayhawks, go Shockers.